Welcome to today's Clash of Clans video. We are going to be showing you some of the best dragon attack strategies in the game right now. We're going to be focusing on Drag Bat initially, moving on to the new Frozen Drag Loon. Very similar to how the Frozen Witches works, but using an air version. We'll move on to that, finally onto the Electro Dragons here. Couple of the best dragon attacks that are in the meta right now. Let's get into it. Alrighty guys, diving into this first attack, we're going to focus on the Drag Bat, mainly because this is top of the meta in terms of dragon attacks. It still works very effectively. You need to select the bases effectively. It's not as overpowering as it was, but it's still very, very good, guys. Many of you have asked, does it work at Town Hall 12? Well, we're going to show you a fantastic example of that now. If I pause here just for a second, I want to show you the basic premise of this attack. The most simplistic way of setting it up is using the king on one side and the queen on the other, and a fantastic example this is. The king sets up the funnel over at the top of the base. There was an archer tower on the outside, but nothing else that the king can actually shoot over and get value with. Whereas using the queen on the other side, you can see she's also able to pick off an air defense. So if you can do that, that is going to be very helpful. Now the Sui hero method means you can set the funnel, you can pick off some defenses, but ultimately that funnel's the most important thing. You need the dragons to go where you want. That's obviously one part of the attack. And if we pause again here, just look at where the dragons will go. If I draw a little thin strip here, down from where the dragons are, you can see they're coming straight into the center of the base. They're going straight to that queen. It's going to be very, very effective. You don't have to worry about condensing the dragons into a tiny little spot. They're pretty powerful, guys. So you can spread them across that entire side as we did in this one and bring the dragons forward. We do attack into a sweeper on this one. Now it depends on how much of a spread you're coming in with. Obviously we had quite a spread on this one that it didn't really matter. It hits a few of them, but many others get around the back and get that sweeper. Queen goes down and they continue to come through. Now as the bats come in on this left hand side, what they are taking, look, is a huge Tesla farm, 2 air defense and the single inferno. But they're not going to get the single inferno down here. However, what the bats are doing is also creating the pathing like we mentioned initially. So if the bats take out this area, notice what happens with the dragons. They actually fly right down to the other single target inferno, and you have to think about that. You have to think about the pathing of the dragons initially, funneling them into the base, but you've also got to think of, if that funnel is only set initially, the dragons can then fan out and actually they can become less efficient. How can you control their pathing as you move through the base? Now a lot of the time with the Drag Bat, you will do it exactly like that. You'll actually just swoop the bats over a certain area. That is going to help not only take out them dangerous defenses, air defense, single target infernos you're obviously aiming for. Any other point defense is a bonus, but you're also creating the pathing for the dragons. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for all of my Clash of Clans videos and my live streams as well. If you hit the notification bell, that's the only way you will see my content as soon as it goes live. So let's move on to one more Drag Bat attack strategy. I want to show you another one, this time at Town Hall 11, and this time a slight variation. We actually path the dragons slightly differently, then we'll move on to that Frozen Drag Loon. Very exciting stuff. Now this one, yes, it's a Town Hall 12, but it's a brand new 12. It's an 11 really, and we're taking it out with an 11. So this is a Town Hall 11, essentially. Same thing, king and queen setting the funnel for the dragons. Honestly, there's not many times that you don't want to do this. There's very few bases that you wouldn't want to use a king and queen to set up the funnel. The funnel would have to already be set for you, essentially, to not use this strategy. Again, using the queen on this side means we can pop off some of the defenses, and if we get lucky, get down to that air defense as well. King has done an amazing job on this side, and then in come the dragons, and we actually attack into this side because the sweepers are a little bit more troublesome on this one. So yes, we can attack behind them, and what that allows us to do is get the queen. There was a big Tesla farm here which is major damage, and you'll see what we do with the bats on this one. So in terms of that pathing that we've talked about in that previous attack, we are actually doing it on this attack with the stone slammer look. So we had the slammer come in alongside a bunch of loons, and that is going to hopefully control our dragons across the other side of the base. Then what we do is merge the bats in with that, and you get massive amounts of DPS. The dragons protect the bats protect the dragons, and there's so many bats, they swoop through and they crush the base very quickly, getting over to that single inferno with more than enough dragons left over. So what was the difference? It all depends on where the dangerous defenses are for the dragons and where the splash damages are. If you can't get that value with the bats on one side, it might not be the best strategy for the base, but it might be that you can actually bring something else in. It doesn't have to always be the stone slammer. That is a fantastic option. In fact, it's probably the best option. But you can also bring in a hound with some loons just to pop off an area if you need be. If that's going to stop 2 or 3 dragons moving across and splitting from the pack, then that's something that you'd want to try and do. Fast forwarding through the rest of it, then we'll move on to the frozen Drag Loon. If you are enjoying this one, be sure to leave a like, guys. It helps out the videos massively, and all of these attacks are by feederways. If you're interested in joining, you'll find everything you need to know within my Discord server. The link is in the description of this video. Any of the clans for the UK War Alliance, if you're interested, be sure to check that out. Right, onto the frozen Drag Loon. Now, we've mentioned it previously as well. Even without the bats, or when that nerf came to the bat spell, are the dragons still an option? And most definitely they are. It just depends on the meta, depends on the base layout. A lot of bases are using multi-infernos to try and defend the bats, to try and defend the lava loon. That is where dragons come in. They're so effective against it. They are not going to be affected by a multi-inferno. But the single, you've got to have a plan for. And that's where the loons come in. So you can see there's lots of loons here. You're trying to get them to the single inferno, but that's where the freeze spells come in as well. They're only 1 spell capacity, very much the frozen witch. All you're using the freeze for is the multi-infernos, the splash damage defenses. It's kind of the same with the dragons. You're using the freeze spells onto air defense, onto single infernos, anything which is powerful to them dragons, onto air sweepers as well. Use them free spells as they come through the base, and you have a couple of rage spells. And again, what you can do is look at pathing. So what we did on this one was bring that stone slammer in towards the single. Yes, it started popping off defenses around it, but as a backup plan, notice who's there. Bump. Enemy queen's there to take that out straight away, and as we come through the base, the dragons have swept through so effectively because we're freezing each and every defense that is dangerous towards it. Very quick example by Joe here, a fantastic attack. Getting that queen into the base with the slammer as well was a good option. Again, you can look at the different base setups. It's not that one strategy might not work over another, but certainly if there's not a clear area to use the bats, do think about it. Would the dragons still work? Maybe you have a fantastic area to funnel the dragons in and you think, wow, that would be fantastic initially for dragons. I've just got nowhere on the base to put the bat spells. Do you even need the bat spells? Can you take another rage spell and pack it out with freeze spells and just freeze them dangerous areas? It's definitely still an option, because right now the game, in my opinion, is in the best place balance wise that it's ever been. And by the way, guys, we didn't even mention Clash of Clans World Championships was announced yesterday. Get some hype down in the comments for the Clash of Clans World Championships, organized by ESL. It's going to be a fantastic year for Clash of Clans. I'm going to pause this replay for a second. There is going to be a link down in the description as well. Go ahead and check the website, sign up, get yourselves up there for that $1 million prize. Wow, It's going to be awesome, guys. It's going to be absolutely crazy. I'm so excited to see how it goes down this year. Right, the Electro Dragons. When do you want to use them? Well, let's look at this base. It's kind of a bit of a troll base, but the Electro Dragons can sometimes outsmart that, depending on how you look at it. So, if I pause for a second, we're bringing the Electro Dragons in from this area of the base, but we've got sweepers pointing this way. Now, the last thing you want to do with Electro Dragons, I know I said with the Dragons, you can kind of get through the sweepers. You don't want to do that with the Electro Dragons. You've got no chance. Absolutely no chance. And all of the air defense are on this side of the base as well. And normally you would attack straight into the dangerous defenses. So what's the difference? Let's find out. In comes this slammer straight towards that single inferno. Again, we need to have a plan for that. It's not like we can just skip it, but also what it's doing, look, it's controlling the bulk of the Electro Dragons to this part of the base. Clone spell onto the loons, fantastic stuff. That means they can come down to this bottom air defense and get that. But what about the top? Well, this initial rage spell could have been better. Let's just say that. It could have been better. The Electro Dragon split like he wasn't expecting. But look at what the Electro Dragons are doing. They've actually already chained this air defense at the back here. So most of the time, you wouldn't come in from this opposite side, because what you're going to have to do is take all of these buildings out before you get to the dangerous defense, which is shooting your dragons. Electro Dragons can chain through to that defense, and on occasion, depending on the chain value, they might actually take the defense down without ever being in range of it. So do think about it, and do look at how condensed the base is. Can you actually chain through? The E-Drags, they are good on them select bases. You just have to not come into sweepers. Make sure you've got the single infernos, a plan for it. Whether that's the free spell in itself, something else coming in. You could see the value of the balloons on this one. Basically, the Stone Slammer and Loons took out that bottom section. E-Drag swept over the top for the top section. And that is 3 different examples for dragon attacks in Clash of Clans. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Until next time, peace out.